Hi everyone, today we are getting into territory where we do something in Python that is actually useful. How about that? Today we will learn how to change file names on our computer. So I have this folder here with a bunch of files and I made a typo. I have 2 underscores here and I really wish I had only 1 underscore right there. So how do we do that? For that we need the OS module. OS stands for operating system, and the OS module gives us a lot of functions that allow us to do things that we usually do through the operating system. We will mainly use the functions listdir and rename today. Listdir, when we tell it a path to a directory, will give us a list of all the things that are contained in that directory. Rename, on the other hand, when we pass it the path to a file and then a new file name, it will rename that file to whatever new file name we give it. So let's look at one of the example folder here. I have this folder which has only one file in it, important data 1. So we can just take file list equals os.listdir with the path to that folder. Now file list contains exactly one element, a string with exactly this file name here, important data 1. Now to rename it, we just use this function os.rename, where we give it the path to the file and then the file same path with the new file name. I want to rename important data1.txt to very important data1.txt. Now we execute this and we see it worked. It exactly renamed important data1 to very important data1. Now the other example, the one we really want to fix, these 2 underscores, is a little more complex because we will loop through many different file names. So let's first look at the file list for this same directory. File list contains all these file names that you just saw in that folder, including the error with the 2 underscores. Now, as with any list, we can index into it and get a single name out of there. So let's find out how to fix that. We will fix these 2 underscores by splitting the name first along the underscores. So we split by the underscores and this will give us a list, and a list around each underscore, which looks exactly as such. So we have important, then we have an underscore, so it's split. Then we have what's between those 2 underscores, which is nothing, so we get an empty string here. Then we get what's after this underscore, data, and then we get what's after the last underscore, which is 1.txt. Now, we want to get rid of this empty string, because that's what's in between those 2 underscores. And then later, when we will join this list again, we will have only 1 underscore there, as you will see. So in the last video, we looked at list comprehensions, and this is exactly what we will use to get rid of this empty string. So we will go through this split name, and we will only use those values that are considered true in a Boolean context. So we go through each one of those elements. So we have important, empty string, data, 1.txt, and we append only the those elements that are true. Now, this works. Why does it work? Again, it works because any non-empty string, such as this one, and this one, is considered true in a Boolean context. An empty string is considered false. So with this if condition, we will append important. We will skip this empty string because it's false. It's not going to get appended in the list comprehension. We take data and we take 1.txt, and that's exactly the result that we see here. Now we have our filtered name, and now we need to join it again into a string. So the fixed name we can create by just joining it along an underscore. So we take filtered name, and fixed name now is as I want it to be. So again, join just takes important data, puts an underscore between them, takes data and one.txt, puts an underscore between them, and then returns us a string that is this list joined with underscores. Now we also need to loop through this entire file list and apply this method of fixing the file names to each of them. So we simply loop for through file list for name in file list. Let's first just print the name to see that it works. Yes, it printed out all the file names. So let's do this for real. In file list, we want to split the name, name.split with the underscore. Then we filter the name for any empty strings. Anything that's considered false in this list will be gone. Then we get our fixed name by joining again. Dot join and filtered name. Close that parentheses. And for now we'll just print fixed name. And here you see it. Here were all the uncorrected names, and here are the corrected names with just one underscore instead of two. Now, to actually change the file names, we need to do exactly the same thing, but we need to call the os.rename method to actually change the name. So we can get the same thing here, but we need the path to where the files are, and then instead of printing, we call os.rename, and we have the path plus the name, which is the uncorrected name, and then we want to rename that to path plus fixed name. So again, we see here these names are still, these file names still have two underscores, and as I execute this, we get an error. Cannot find the file specified. User tutorial 13 sample. Aha, unfixed. Sorry, I made an error. Oh my lord, how did this happen? Now, okay, it was the wrong path. Okay, now it's the right path, and it's corrected. Instead of two underscores, we only have one underscore. So this error simply happened because this was not the correct path. This was the correct path. Tutorial 13 sample, unfixed. Alright, so that concludes it for changing file names. The OS module is very useful. I hope this helped you. I hope you will find it useful to be able to change file names. This is if you have one file name to change, it's rather useless to do this. But if you have a lot of file names that have a certain structure, a certain pattern that is wrong to them, then this is quite useful to being able to do. Alright, so I hope to see you in the next video where we will look at how to write functions in Python. See you then.